What's up, everyone? My name is Pardon My Presence, and you are listening to the Pardon My Presence YouTube channel, where I address common issues from a unique point of view. It's also a place where I pardon a space for critical thought and analysis in today's society, where well-informed logical assessments are slowly becoming taboo. Now, if you ever wondered where the name Pardon My Presence came from, just consider this. There seems to be a push to reduce or even eliminate fathers from the family nucleus, from their households, and even to undermine the importance that fatherhood plays in today's society. This is a trend that cannot continue. See, men, fathers, are just as vital as women, mothers. It takes a man and a woman to create a family, and therefore the role of a mother and a father should hold equal value. You see, as men, we must put our foot through the doorway and say, "Pardon me, I belong here. My presence will be felt. And I should be a part of the discussion, because if I'm going to be held accountable as being part of the problem, then ultimately I must be a part of the solution." And it's from that situation that the name Pardon My Presence was created. So that was a mouthful. So I want to go into something that I saw today that was very appalling. It was very disturbing, and I was really hurt by this. Okay, to the point where I felt very sad for this little girl. What I saw was a social media video or clip that went viral. It's an IG live video where there is a father and his new wife, which is the stepmother for the daughter, where there's an issue, where the daughter ran away and stole something, and they were able to get her back, and now they're trying to teach her a lesson. And this lesson is what some people like to call discipline, but from what they've displayed in this IG live, it is not discipline, it is abuse, because they end up physically abusing this daughter or this girl. But on top of that, the father decides to teach his daughter a lesson. Now, the daughter is probably no more than 16. Okay, the daughter is not that old. He decides that he's going to teach his daughter a lesson in regards to the dangers that are out there in the world when you run away as a young child. And he decides that he's going to sit on top of her and pin her arms under his knees and tell her that this is what it would be like if you are around people or men that you don't know. And this could be a situation where you cannot ask for help or you cannot defend yourself. So in other words, he's simulating a certain type of situation where she would be helpless. Now, why on earth would a father, the man who's supposed to be the provider, the protector, the person who provides guidance, wisdom, and knowledge to your child, why would you decide to simulate that particular assault on your child to teach her a lesson? Does that make any sense to you? Anybody? How does that learn your child, so to speak? How does your child learn from that situation? They don't. They can't. And in that video that you see, you could see in the girl's face, she's not responding the right way. She's not receptive to what's going on. You could tell that she's very distraught by the whole thing, and she wants to get the hell out of there if she could. But again, the sad part about this is that they decided to put it on IG Live, not by accident, on purpose, so that she could be embarrassed by what's going on, and they would feel like this is a teachable moment to the child, which it is not. So I want to go into a few things in regards to parenting. Now, I myself, I am a parent. I have boys, okay? And the one thing I have to say from the top, okay, is the fact that no two children are alike, and children do not come with an owner's manual. You will never know how to respond to one particular child unless you get to know your child as an individual, because what I do with one son, I can't really do with the next son. How I teach one son, I can't teach the next son. How I discipline one son, I can't discipline the other son. I have to treat them as separate individuals. So that's the one thing I want to say. And having said that, I don't know this family. I don't know what trials and tribulations that they've been through. I don't know if this is a troubled child that they're dealing with. I don't know the history. But what I will say is that if it gets to the point where you have to do those things that I've described, that I've seen in those videos, it's come to a point where things are in a dire need, or you're in a dire situation. It's gone to the point where it's beyond, or it's out of control. So the one thing you realize as a parent very early in your parenthood, or in my case, in fatherhood, is that children, they learn more from your actions than they do from your words. So they are watching what you are doing more than they are listening to what you are saying. So if you find that your child is acting out, is doing things that is unacceptable, then you have to check yourself and ask yourself, am I behaving in the right manner in front of my child? Am I acting correctly in front of my child? Am I leading by example? Am I showing my child how things are supposed to be done through my actions? Because the best thing for you to do, if you want to create a healthy atmosphere, or you want to create healthy habits for your child, healthy reasoning for your child, healthy building in logic for your child, then you have to show your child how a individual, a mature adult, should handle themselves in tight situations or in tense situations. And what I find is that a lot of times, and it could be because of stress, financial issues, being stressed out at work, long hours at work, where you don't have the time or the patience to kind of be mindful of those things. But at the same time, you need to teach your child how to resolve things in the best way possible, amicably, how to be able to talk through certain arguments that you might have with your significant other, how to be able to see things through to the end, and the end meaning that there's a resolution, not just argue and a problem is created and it's never resolved and people go to bed still heated. That should never be the case. So again, teach your children about conflict resolution, teach your children how to deal with adversity, teach your children how to be someone who is going to have persistence, not persistence, but perseverance, because all those things are important, and those are the things that build character. And what I'm seeing here, based on the video, is that you have two parents, the father and the stepmother, who seem to be taking their frustrations out on their child. And that's never a good thing, and that's never a way to get a child to respond to you in the correct way, or the correct manner. And this is very important too, is that there's really a thick line between discipline and abuse. There's a lot of mixed feelings in regards to discipline, whether or not spanking is appropriate, whether or not it works, whether or not speaking to your child spoils them. There's many different opinions on that. Now, for me, there are cases where one might be required, and there might be cases where the other situation might be required. Again, it depends on your child. You know your child better than anybody else, but you also must know how your child reacts to different forms of discipline and punishment. And the one thing that you'll find out is that when it comes to discipline and punishment, the key thing is not to inflict pain on the child. It's not to inflict any torture on the child or bad experiences on the child. The whole point about discipline and punishment is to teach your child the right way to do things, the right way to behave, the best way to handle situations. So at the end of the day, if your child is able to get that and learn from their mistakes, and to take what they've learned or what you've taught them and apply it into their lives where they become better human beings, then you've succeeded. If you're going to use any discipline in the physical sense, make sure you follow it up with compassion. Let your child know that you love them. If you're going to do something like that, let your child know that you love them. Let them see more of the loving person in you. Let them see more of that person in you in order for them to see that this is not about inflicting pain. This is about a teachable moment. And in most cases, if you are someone who's been involved in your child's life and you're an active person in a child's life, a good talking to them will get the results that you're looking for. You don't need to raise your hand. You don't need to raise your fist. You don't need to get your belt. You don't need to do any of those things. You could have a sit down with your child, a one-on-one, look them in the eye, speak to them, rationalize with them, get their input, find out how they're doing in school, and come to a resolution where they can work on themselves and work on the problem, and they'll understand that you'll be with them every step of the way. Because what I suspect from what's going on with that girl is the fact that she's alone. And whatever is happening in the house, it's mayhem, and she does not want to be around it. So she is acting out. Maybe calling for her dad's attention because she's not getting it, because the dad is more focused on the stepmother, right? Because that's always an issue between the daughter and the father, is when a woman gets involved, it gets in between. And then how odd is it for a man or for the father to say to the daughter, you're not a hustler. You need to hustle. You need to be like the other girl who sells stuff. This girl is a young teen. Why not you as a father be the one to be a provider? If there's something that the daughter needs, earrings, shoes, an outfit, her hair done, nails done, you are the man of the house. You are also the man to your daughter. Treat her like you would your wife. Spoil your daughter. Let her know how a man is supposed to treat a woman. That way, when she's out in the world and she gets treated like a piece of crap by other men or by other boys, she understands that this is not how a man should treat her, because my dad treats me a lot better. My dad does things for me that has quality to it, that has value. In order for them to recognize the good things in men, they have to see it somewhere else. They have to see the example somewhere else, and that comes from you, the father. So that's very important for people to realize here. And I'm hoping that whoever that guy is, has someone to sit him down and talk to him and tell him the way how you went about it was wrong. And you never put your child on social media to embarrass them. You never take away their dignity, because at the end of the day, these are children. Children make mistakes. And the one thing that you want is your child to recover, regroup, and to go back out into that world and do better. How can they do better when they have this tape floating around on the internet where things go viral, when it's all over the social atmosphere? How could they do better? How could they move forward when this is following them? You put their face on the news. You put their face on social media. That's going to scar them for life. You've already seen cases where people commit suicide over social media issues and their page and their friends and all the different things. Imagine having that hanging over you. You don't want that. And the other thing as well too, you need to focus on your wife, the stepmother, and you need to let her know, never put your hands on my child. Set boundaries. That should never happen. And it's not something that I feel it should be ever put on social media for any of us to see. And I'm glad that Waka Flocka's mom, Deb Antony, got involved. I'm assuming that they are family members or kins to those people, and that's why they're able to have access to the daughter and take her away, at least in the meantime, temporarily, to get her out of that situation until things can be resolved. So kudos to them for doing something about this. That's probably the only saving grace of having this on social media, is the fact that this gets out to people who actually have the power to do something about it. It's a shame that, it's at the cost of her pride maybe, or her reputation or humility. So in closing, it's important that you understand that loving parents, creating a loving environment in their home, begets loving children. Kind parents beget kind children. Angry parents, abusive parents beget abusive, angry, problem children. It's very important that you understand that. If you want your child to clean the room, you have to make sure the house is clean. If you don't clean your house, how do you expect your child to be responsible enough to clean their room? They don't see you doing it, they're not going to do it either. Nor will they listen to you when you tell them to do it. They'll see the hypocrisy very quickly. The one thing about children, they're very inquisitive. They're watching you. They may not say anything to you, but they're watching you. And they can spot the hypocrisy if there is any. So it's very important that your words match your actions, and what you tell them to do, you are able to do yourself, and you can lead by example. So parents, keep that in mind. Be kind to your children. Provide wisdom. Impute wisdom into your child. Have sit-downs with them. Have conversations with them. Find out how they're doing in school, what challenges they're facing. Find out who they are becoming. Find out who their friends are, who their friends' parents are. Sit down with them, have talks, get in contact with them. These are the things that involved parents do. And in doing those things, you're going to have a good understanding of who your child is, to where if there's any issues that arise, you could have that one-on-one talk with them, because you've built that equity in them. You know enough about them and all the things that they're dealing with to have that sit down and have that conversation with them, where they'll be more receptive to what you have to say, because they know that you've listened to them, that you've invested time into them, that you've shown a vested interest in them. You're not just coming from a long day of work, a 12-hour shift, and you just want to sit down and relax, and now you got to deal with this rut and this bad child, and turn to discipline and punishment by the way of a belt, or by a hand, or by a switch, or whatever object you could find. That is not the ideal way to discipline a child or to teach a child. Be kind, be wise, be fair. I don't want ever to see that type of imagery again. I hope that man, if you could call him a man, I hope that person has learned their lesson. I hope they have embarrassed themselves, and that this whole thing backfires on them, because they're the ones who are now embarrassed. And I hope that they go and seek counseling, because I should never, or no one should ever see that happening on social media and them thinking that they are in the right by doing what they did. That's really all I have to say about the situation. Teach your child the right way through your actions. Let them see you conduct yourself in the proper manner, and they will learn how to conduct themselves in that manner too. Till next time, pardon my presence. Peace.